What's up guys, my name is Nick and today I am going to be talking about everything I learned during my first year of drifting my Scion FRS. This video is going to be heavily aimed at providing knowledge to any new beginner driver who wants to start drifting a BRZ, GT86 or FRS. Some of this knowledge may be helpful for any new driver that drives a Z or maybe even a Hyundai.
What you think? I'm gonna let you roll in a Hyundai?
But really this is going to be focused more on specific niche stuff that applies to the ZN6 platform. I've been drifting for a year now. I've done 5 events with a local club here in Houston, Texas called Knuckle Up. And have also put in about 300 hours on sim, Assetto Corsa. Not super interested in sim driving, but I used it to basically just learn the basics of drifting before I got on the track. So yeah, that's actually the first thing I want to talk about, which is sim driving. I heavily recommend any new driver to get a cheap sim setup. It doesn't have to be expensive, just get the basic Logitech Thrustmaster stuff, and if you're trying to be on a budget, just buy the cheapest computer you can to run Assetto Corsa, which is the driving simulator that I recommend for drifting. Yeah, so basically your first couple of events driving IRL are going to be kind of frustrating because you're just going to be doing donuts and figure eights and burning through tires. It's going to feel like you're wasting money because it may not even be very fun doing that kind of stuff. So if you get a sim first and learn all these basics, it's going to make your first few events a lot more fun. And you can actually learn how to be a great driver on sim before you even get to the track. Let's say you're not interested in sim stuff after you learn the basics. Hey, you can sell your entire setup and then that'll fund your, maybe even fund your first couple of events. I'm not going to talk about sim stuff anymore, but I will link some stuff down below for you guys to check out if you want to get into that. Okay, so let's move on to more specific stuff for the ZN6. And the first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to put a picture on the screen somewhere around here, I guess, of this fuse. So if you start drifting, this is going to be something that you're going to want to know about. And in your fuse box, you're going to want to pull out this green little fuse right here, and it's going to disable ABS and traction control 100%. The 2 little buttons that you have next to your shift knob do not turn it off 100%. So you want to pull out this fuse so you can maintain control of the car while it's drifting. There's also something called a pedal dance that you can do, but I found that to be really pain in the ass. So if you want to skip that, just pull out this fuse and you're good to go. Oil, yeah, let's talk about oil real quick. There's quite the back and forth on forums and stuff about what oil you should be running at the track. Some people like to run 5W30. I personally have always run 0W20 without any issues. My oil temps never rise, so I recommend 0W20 to anyone who asks me what oil they should be running. This is also going to depend on kind of what track you run. The track that I run has a really good cool down lap section after every lap, so that is probably also another reason why my temps never rise. So if you are running a track that does not have a great cool down section, and let's say it's like above 90 Fahrenheit outside, you may want to look into running a different weight of oil, maybe 5W30. That's up to your own research. And some people even recommend running an oil cooler if you are driving your car in higher temperatures like the summer heat. But like I said, I've never had trouble with 0W20 and my car has never risen in temperature, and I've hot lapped. My car's been on track for hours at a time at Knuckle Up with no issues whatsoever. Tires, let's talk about tires. That's always a big question. So my recommendation is that you run 215s all around. Don't run anything higher than 215s, especially if you're just starting, because anything higher than 215s will just make the car too grippy in my opinion, and will hinder your learning potentially. So you could run 215s for your entire grassroots drifting career and be just fine. 215s will work on this car just fine all the way up until you start wanting to add some power. Let's say you want to add some power and you find yourself being limited by the 215s, then maybe you want to bump it up to 225s, but if you're a beginner, just do 215s all around and you're going to be just fine. As far as tire pressure, I recommend starting with 35 in the front, 45 in the rear, and then bumping it up to as high as 55 if you need to in the rear. This all depends on track conditions and the heat outside. So tire pressure is going to be, you're going to learn that this is going to be something that you're going to have to kind of play with all day at the track event. And everyone drives differently, so your driving style might require you to have a different pressure than the person next to you. It's all going to be something you're going to have to figure out. But yeah, just use that as my recommendation and start from there. Also in the wet, same thing. You're just going to have to play with it. 35 in the front, 35 in the rear, and then just drop it down from there if you need to. Yeah, so back to the 215s, I skipped over this part that I wanted to talk about. You may think, oh, 215s, I can't run my super hot boy wheels with 215s, but I mean, as long as you're running, you can run 215s on up to a 9, maybe even a 9.5 inch wheel safely. So as long as you've got a tire guy that's willing to put up with your issue, then you can run a 215 on a 9-inch wheel, which is what I've done just fine, and drift on it just fine. Okay, yeah, I want to mention some tires that I've used and that I've had good experience with in the past, in case you guys are kind of lost and have no idea where to even start with, which is where I was when I first started drifting. So when you're first starting, the main things you want to worry about are the price. And basically you want to find cheap tires that are not going to fall apart on you. And what I've found is that this tire called Landsail, I'll put the exact name of the tire right here, has been really good to me. I've run them for several events. I've also heard Westlakes are good. I've never ran those before, but I've also run Valinos and some Kendas that are really good. So if you've got some extra money laying around that you want to spend on tires, Kendas and Valinos are cool if you can find them in your tire size. Next thing I want to talk about is angle. So it is my very, very strong opinion that you do not, other than maybe some extended tie rods in the front, that you do not add any angle for your first at least year or so of drifting. I think that will help you to learn how to run a really good line, not become too reliant on the extra added angle that you would potentially have if you wanted to add knuckles or whatever to your car. I think that you really should just focus on learning how to drive without any added angle. And I will link a video below kind of better explaining that philosophy. It's a great interview with Brandon Mace, who lives in Japan. And he kind of breaks down the philosophy of learning how to drive without angle before adding any angle to your car. But yeah, I mean, it's all up to you. Everyone's got different goals with their driving. So do whatever you want. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Just do what makes you happy. Okay, so the Handbrake, e-brake. I would suggest that you completely ignore your e-brake for your first couple of events. It's cool if you want to use it to initiate, but you don't want to find yourself using it in every single corner, especially as a beginner, because it's really easy to learn and it's really easy to become reliant on and form bad habits with. So just ignore it for your first couple of events and learn how to control the car with the car's momentum and keeping the car going through the track with just the momentum of it. The momentum of the car itself. If you find yourself slowing down between corners in transition, I would suggest trying to learn how to use clutch kicks. It's super easy to learn, and that will give you the extra little boost you need to stay in drift. Yeah, that's everything you need to know about the handbrake. All these things are just tools that you're going to learn along the way. You don't need to stress yourself too much on trying to learn every tool at once in your first event. It's going to be hard. Just master one thing at a time. First, focus on your line and using the car's momentum to get you through the track, then start throwing some clutch kicks in there. Maybe a couple events later you can start learning how to use the e-brake. But yeah, and like I said, a lot of this stuff you can learn on the sim before you even hit the track if you want to buy a simulator. The great thing about this car is that you don't really need to do any modifications to it to start drifting, but assuming you guys are going to modify your car like I did, I wanted to share lots bits of knowledge to end the video regarding modifications. So the first thing I want to talk about is if you're going to be running 18s on your car and you're going to lower your car, you can say goodbye to your front inner fender liners. They're going to probably fly out on you. There's probably some modifications you can do to prevent this, but I would just say expect that they're going to fly out on you, and you may even want to just remove them. Another thing people always ask about is spacers. Yes, it sounds sketchy adding spacers to your car while drifting, but it's not. You're fine. You're going to be good. As long as you get a reputable brand, it's fine. I ran slip-on spacers this entire season with extended studs. So as long as you've got enough, what is it called when there's enough thread for your lug nuts? But yeah, as long as your lug nuts have enough engagement on the thread, then you're fine. So I have plenty of friends that run spacers, the bolt-on spacers, but I just prefer these slip-on spacers. And no matter what you want to do, you're going to be fine. Okay, so yeah, if you're going to lower your car too much in the rear, this is one of the downsides of this car. You're going to start going through axles. You're going to find that your axle boot has run out of grease and your axle just breaks. That's just because of the geometry of this car. When you lower it, especially, it sucks. But that is if you do not do any modifications. There's stuff like subframe risers, diff risers, and stuff like that you can add to the car to kind of prevent this a little bit, but it's really hard to get the car super low, looking cool, and not run into issues with your axles. I will put a picture of my car right here somewhere so you can kind of know a safe zone because although my car is not as low as I'd like it to be in the rear, it's still pretty low. It's on 17-inch wheels, and I did not run into any axle issues this year. So if you want to replicate that height, you can do so and know that you're going to be probably going to be fine. I'll also show you a picture of my friend Amani, who went through several axles this year because his car is slammed. It looks awesome though. So that may be worth it for you, just to go through axles as long as your car looks cool. I 100% get that. But yeah, that's what you should expect if you lower your car. For camber, yeah, here's one last little thing I want to talk about. Camber in the front, I would run -3 to -5. The rear, zero it out so that you don't have crazy tire wear in the rear. And remember, if you start seeing too much tire wear on the insides, you can always go to your tire guy and have him flip your tires so that as long as they've got enough meat on them still. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any more questions, just please feel free to leave a comment and ask any questions. I'll try to get back to you. And yeah, I'm gonna be making some more ZN6 content on this channel. I'm actually moving to Japan soon, so good content coming. All right, thank you guys. What's up guys, it is Nick from the future, and as you can see we're in a different location today than the video you just watched, and that is because we're in my apartment in Tokyo. I moved to Japan, and yeah, we got the shirt tucked in, Nobori in the back. Yep, we're in Japan, got the floor, JDM floor bro. But yeah, still kind of putting this apartment together, throwing it together, and I guess I'll show you a little bit of stuff I got over here, kind of cool. Got the steering wheel for my 86 in Texas, a little paperweight sitting right here, and oh, the most important thing I got recently. I want to show you guys. Got a little tree. Got a cute little tree. Looks a little suspicious, I know, but it's just a maple tree. Yeah, I thought it looked good in this Japanese style room, so cute little tree. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. I wanted to throw this little clip at the end just to kind of talk to one-on-one with all the guys who are really following the page and want to see content from me. Just a little update on the channel, what kind of content you guys are going to see from me in the future. And that's basically, the next couple videos that are going to come out are going to be very similar to the ones that I've recently released, which is just me kind of nerding out to the camera about GT86 stuff, because that's the kind of content I like making. No one else is doing it, so I figured, I want to make videos that I would want to watch. But yeah, obviously I'm in Japan now, so there's plenty of content to be made out here. I don't plan on doing anything similar to what people have done in the past out here. I kind of want to make my own lane. And yeah, I don't have a car here yet, but I am going to be getting a car soon, 2023. Definitely ZN6. I know you guys probably expected me to say, oh, I'm going to get a S15, R34, whatever. Nah, everybody already does that, so I kind of want to stick with the ZN6, do something a little bit different. That's gonna be my drift car out here, drift daily. Yeah, I really look forward to that. As you guys know, there's so much stuff coming out for that car. It's a new chassis, best car ever made. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I already have plans to make some videos outside, out of my cave, soon with some friends here in Tokyo. So yeah, there's gonna be some cool stuff coming up, and that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, follow me on Instagram if you want. Thank you.